What's up, guys? It's your favorite YouTuber, Broken Gifted. Now, if you couldn't tell by my name, I can't afford to have Diddy run around an Olympic track as much as I want to. The current funds don't allow it, so instead we're gonna do a little tier list. I don't think I've seen anyone else do this tier list. I wonder why. But regardless, let's get into the Diddler Olympics 2026. Yeah. Now you might be looking at this list and think it looks a little bare. Broken Gifted, you didn't add my favorite contestant, my uncle, my babysitter, my auntie. Well, guys, there's so many diddlers in the world and I could only add so many to the list, so you're gonna have to bear with me. All right, let's start with the first contestant. We're going with a big name. He was on the thumbnail, you guys already know. This guy was kind of a huge deal a while back. EDP445. Now, I think a lot of people are tempted to put him immediately in the GOAT tier. It's undeniable. He's extremely iconic. You can't even not think about him when you hear about a cupcake. But I think I'm more on the controversial side when it comes to EDP. I grew up watching EDP when I was very young, sort of like some kids watch like Sesame Street, you know, whatnot, Cartoon Network. But no, I was watching EDP. Guy was very funny. All my friends used to watch his videos with me and we laughed till we're crying. So when the news came out, I was pretty surprised. You know, I was holding back tears. I felt completely betrayed. My entire childhood was ruined, all for a damn cupcake. And it just made me think, like, a lot of his audience was probably like 12, and that's his main target. I can't help but think that EDP is actually a genius. He kind of set up like a fisherman, luring in his victims with a bait, and then was able to capitalize. Kind of a genius grooming strat, I'm not gonna lie. So genius that he actually fell for it himself, except the bait this time was just a cupcake. Putting aside his iconic career and you know, all the jokes about him, all the funny stuff surrounding him, he's a funny guy. Just because he's ruined my childhood, I gotta put him in overrated, bro. All right, moving on to the next one. I think I'm gonna just get all the YouTubers out of the way. Next, we're gonna talk about Dr. Disrespect. Now, I didn't even know what this guy did until I looked this up, because Dr. Disrespect is boring and really annoying and not funny. He has like the mental of like a 17-year-old. And that's fitting for who his target was. Apparently, it says Dr. Disrespect messaged some 17-year-old girl or something like that. Wait, it doesn't even say age. Who knows? It could be a 12-year-old trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon. I do have to respect the absolute balls that it takes to meet at, you know, such a public place, especially when people are there, like, recognize you and they're there to meet you and take pictures of you and whatnot. Also, the girl's parents probably brought her there, so if they also happen to be there, that's sort of a, I don't know, bro. I don't know what was going through his head. It sounds kind of fishy to me, I'm not gonna lie, but it doesn't really matter because, to be honest, I don't care about this guy. I think everyone kind of forgot about him anyways. Now, this is the Olympics, and in terms of athletics, this dude is jacked. That's gotta give him some extra points, but I'm still gonna put him and trash. All he does is like wear glasses and like scream a lot, bro. I hate this guy. All right, next target, we got Call Me Carson. If you don't know Call Me Carson, he like I don't know what he did. He made like silly YouTube videos, and he was texting someone when he was like 19 and she was 17 or something like that. Pretty stupid move. That's against the law. But in terms of didification, that's like the lowest level diddling that you can do. Like, he was the same age 2 years ago. I'm not defending it. I would never do that. Also, there's like a lot of growing that happens during that age. So the age difference is like a little bit more, in my opinion, than compared to like 40 and 42 or whatever the math is. I'm just saying, compared to a lot of the heavy hitters on this list, this dude is so mid. I think the reason that, you know, he caught so much flack is just because his audience is like cringe furries and whatnot. But yeah, derailed his entire career just to get some cheeks. To be honest, it's just kind of lame and disappointing more than anything. So I gotta put Call Me Carson in mid. All right, next on this list, we got a big name. And I think my opinion on this is either gonna make it or break the video for you guys. We got Puff Daddy. P. Diddy, known for the freak offs, bro. This guy is a legend. So iconic. Like, genuinely so iconic. Maybe one of the most iconic. You might think that that's gonna put him extremely high on the list, but I think I have a bit of a controversial take on him. Diddy is so popular that he's become almost sort of like a boogeyman for little children. I played Fortnite and heard like 7-year-olds on the mic saying that Diddy's gonna be under my bed trying to scare me. Now, I'm not too scared about Diddy being under my bed, but I am scared of Diddy's effect on the young minds. If Diddy's so popular that little kids are making jokes about the Diddler and getting the Diddy touch, that's just a sign of how doomed we are as a society. Well, I hate that word, bro. When I was working and I had a job, I would hear my coworkers talking about Diddy. I would be trying to make like bread or something, and this dude wouldn't shut the fuck up about, did you hear what he did to Justin? Bro, he would be trying to show me like explicit videos of Diddy. I think I was like 17 at the time, and this dude's like 40. You would think, you know, looking at all this stuff on Diddy, he would have a little bit of self-reflection, but nah. I mean, that shit was kind of funny, but it's annoying is my point. He's too mainstream. I don't want to be that guy, you know, mainstream is bad because I'm so different. But it's annoying, bro. I've had enough Fortnite Diddy emo. Diddy's everywhere, bro. I'm sick of it. I've been waiting years for this guy to disappear from, you know, my surroundings everywhere on the internet, but he's just not going anywhere. It's just sort of a staple. And because of that, he's like forever imprinted in my brain. I'm almost tempted to put him in trash, but just because of how iconic he is, how legendary he is, I'm just gonna put him in overrated.
Oh, hold on, my boyfriend's calling me. What's up, boyfriend?
Hello.
What you doing?
Lunchtime.
Can you make it clap?
What?
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. We got Dan Schneider. Now, this guy I really don't like because he's not funny in the slightest. If you guys don't know who this guy is, he's just, you know, he was diddling the cast of iCarly or something like that. He's like the Diddy of Nickelodeon. For lack of better words, I'm such a hypocrite, bro. I hate Diddy. But like more so than the others, this guy doesn't have any silliness to him. The other ones, you know, you can kind of take it lighthearted, even though it's like extremely disgusting, like, you know, the worst things in this universe. You can kind of like bring light to it by making fun of him. But I don't know, this guy gives me sort of like a Ted Bundy sort of vibe. Like, he's so creepy. Nothing's really too funny about him at all. Similarly to EDP, this dude also kind of ruined my childhood. You know, I kind of feel for the actors, I guess, you know, the little kids. I like have to talk serious when I talk about this guy. Yeah, I don't know, bro. He's just creepy. I hate this guy. We're putting him in trash. All right, next one is Golden. That's a little hint. We got a heavy hitter, the king of R&B. You know, this dude was showered with praises. Even after the allegations, we got the legend R. Kelly. Some of the best music ever made. I want to hear his prison tapes. R. Kelly's music is so heavenly that the world shifted when he got locked up. I think I've heard someone else say this before, but if we just gave him like a little booth in the cell, I think it would like reverse the timeline and we wouldn't have the coronavirus. But yeah, R. Kelly like peed on a little girl or something like that. I've actually had a girl ask me to give her you know, a little shower, and I told her obviously no, because I just can't compare to R. Kelly. I'm not R. Kelly. I'm gonna stay in my lane and just do what Broken Gifted does. Now, he's not gonna go in GOAT status. That's reserved for one member only. Now, I can't put him in GOAT status because that's reserved for only one member, but just because I believe I can fly, we're putting him in the big leagues tier. Next on this list, we got Juice WRLD. We're gonna break a lot of little kids' hearts with this one. Yeah, Juice WRLD was a diddler. Now, not technically a diddler. He was a super senior. I'm not sure what the actual age gap was because I don't want to look it up. But freshman and senior, that's just criminal. It's not right, even though it may be legal. You know, one of them could be, you know, sent to war almost. You know, can drive a car, about to pay bills, you know, can legally have kids. And the other one just left middle school. Also, I just don't like Juice WRLD and his music. One R. Kelly song solos all of Juice WRLD's discography. I wouldn't say that he's overrated in this context. I actually think he's underrated in the Diddler Olympics, but I don't know, I just feel like he's kind of mid, bro. I wasn't too surprised, to be honest, when I heard about this. I honestly kind of expected it, you know, it's not too crazy. I just kind of moved on with my life and forgot about it, so I'm gonna just put Juice WRLD in mid. All right, next, second to last, we got Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is, I don't know, he's kind of scary to think about. His face was kind of scary. I'd be lying if I said I didn't have nightmares about him touching me. The Michael Jackson touching story just kind of feels almost like a fairy tale, like he lured the little kids into his promised land and then cuddled with them in his, you know, race car bed or whatever. Also, like, these allegations against him, I don't know if it was for fame, but the, you know, little boy that said he got touched, you know, he's like an adult now or whatever, and came out and said that it was not true and that someone told him to say it so that they could sue him or something like that. But the maids, you know, that worked at his playland or whatever, little Disneyland amusement park or something, said that he was a freak. So I don't know. Personally, I'm an optimist, so I like to think that, you know, or maybe this is just more negative, that the government like plotted this or something, because they know that if Michael Jackson ran for president, there's no one who wouldn't vote for him, and then it would be revealed that the votes are skewed. So they had to eliminate him, and the easiest course of action is to paint him, you know, in the worst light possible. I also see people defending Michael, saying that, you know, he had a rough childhood and he was just trying to relive that. Even if that's the case, just go to therapy. Don't have this little amusement park and take little kids to your house. That's weird, bro. You could also say that it's mental illness, that you know, that's why he wanted to hang out with a bunch of little children and go on roller coaster rides or like the carousel. But if there was a mentally ill person and he wanted to do a lot of bad things, does that mean that we should just do nothing about it? If anything, that's just more justification. Mr. Jackson, I don't really know where to put him on this list. I don't have any too strong feelings about him. I think, to be honest, I'll put him in the big leagues, bro, because he's kind of iconic, if we're being honest. You know, like if you go to China, you know, they don't speak any English, but they probably know Michael Jackson. All right, the moment you've all been waiting for. You already know it's coming. The king, the GOAT, Jeffrey. Now, if we're just going about this, I don't mean to be this guy, but just statistic based, I mean, he's got the whole island. He was running a crazy underground operation. There's absolutely not another player in this Olympics that is doing it on the same scale as Jeffrey. I also like that if you look him up, they have this picture as the first thing that shows up on Google. Regardless of the stats, he's incredibly iconic. There's, you know, maps made in video games after him, custom maps, modded maps. He even had his wife in on the operation, basically doing a duo. No one else on this entire list was running duos. This dude was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. They didn't even release the full files, and you guys have seen the amount of names listed on them. In terms of diddling, this guy had his hand all over the world in every single pool, even having huge names in the government. You saw how widespread this was, how bold he was with his actions, and he was still almost indestructible. Arguably is, because there's a lot of people that speculate, including me, that he didn't die. He isn't locked up. We know that he escaped. GOAT. Undisputed. In this category, there's no other name that is on the top. This is the king. All right, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you can sleep after listening to this. I'll see you guys in the next video. Love you. Bye.